right, so Mark, I'm in the booth with O'Neill on Monday. No, it was Tuesday.
Can you do an impression of what O'Neill sounded like?
And he said, Mama said. No. And I said to him, when does the start of a season, a bad start of a season, start to affect you? He said, if you go 2 days at the start of a season without getting hits, you start to get a little antsy. Now, we've seen the start by Bird. We've seen the start by Sanchez. Now, Holliday's the veteran. He's also had a bad start. When do they start worrying, Mark?
Young guys worry a lot earlier than the older guys do. I mean, Matt Holliday is going to be fine. You know, Matt Holliday's got 2,000 career hits and 300 career home runs and all those things. He knows he's going to hit. As a young player, though, you look up and you see that I'm batting 50 or I'm batting 100, and that gets in your head because you don't have a long list of accomplishments that veterans have. You don't have that track record of, oh, yeah, I've done this for 10 years. This is just a blip on the radar. So as a young player, absolutely, when you get off to a slow start, you think about it.
Flip side of that coin, you're Chase Headley and you start out, batting 660. When do you start to believe that what you're doing, this could just be you getting off to having a tremendous season?
It takes a while. I mean, I remember last year I had a good first 3 games, and I thought I was going to be an all-star. And then, reality sets in, and you have to grind out 162 games. I talked on opening day. I talk about the excitement and the adrenaline of opening day. A lot of great things happening on opening day. I mean, you see pitchers throw 8 scoreless innings and they have a terrible season because they get hurt, or a hitter goes out and hits 2 home runs on opening day and never hits another one for a month. The first couple games you have that adrenaline, but then the regular season sets in and the grind sets in, and you're going East Coast to West Coast having to play a game that night, and you take a 1 for 15 stretch against some good pitchers, and you start tinkering with your swing. So I think, as happy as Chase probably is right now, he's a veteran. He knows that he's got to grind it out for 162.
Now, we talked about this when you were in studio with us last week. Chase Headley is hitting against the shift. I think he's picked up 4 or 5 hits hitting through the vacated hole, and he said he's trying to do that because he wants the defense to be fair on him and that they'll shift back to normal. How long do you think a defense will take giving up those hits before they shift back to normal?
This is a great thing for Chase Headley. I mean, when you're a power hitter hitting 30, 35 home runs a year, you don't want to be bunting and slapping ball the other way. But listen, Chase Headley's not a 35 home run guy. I mean, he's a guy that needs to hit for average. He needs to move runners over. He's at the bottom of the lineup where he needs to make things happen. So he is absolutely doing the right thing. The defense will shift over, and it'll open up a little bit more of the right side again, so where he can pull the ball and drive the ball a little bit. So I love what I'm seeing from Chase. He's a veteran hitter that has taken a lot of criticism over the last few years for not kind of being that all-star that he was in San Diego. But I really like what I'm seeing from him right now.
Mark, we talked a lot yesterday about the fact that the difference maker for the Yankees may be their bullpen. I think it's one of the best in baseball. But if these starting pitchers aren't going to give you any length, how concerned are you that they're going to wear this bullpen out?
It's a big concern. I mean, I think what we saw the first 3 games is kind of the hesitation that we all had about anointing the Yankees as a playoff team right away. I mean, we knew this was a team that was growing. We knew this was a team that has a bright future, but has a lot of question marks on the starting staff. Incidentally, Masahiro Tanaka is not one of those question marks. I mean, this guy he's a bona fide ace. And I was going through some of his numbers over the past 3 years. He's getting better, and as long as he's healthy, I mean, Tanaka is a top 15 pitcher in baseball. I think what we saw on opening day from him was just an anomaly. He was probably a little too amped up and didn't have the feel. So let's just throw Tanaka out of it. Let's put CC Sabathia and Michael Pineda back-to-back, and those guys are probably 500 pitchers throughout a whole season right now. That's the worry that the Yankees have. If Sabathia's had a really good game, he pitched very well, but then Pineda, the frustrating Michael Pineda that you see this great stuff and he doesn't make it out of the 4th inning. So that's what the Yankees fans have to worry about is Tanaka going to be the ace, but then everyone else is going to be a 500 pitcher? And if you do that, you're not making the playoffs.
All right, now you talked about the frustration of Pineda, whose stuff is filthy in baseball vernacular, and he just can't get it done to the level of his stuff. And I'm going to take it to an offensive player. He's been baffling me for 3 years. He was a teammate of yours for 3 years. And I look at Jacoby Ellsbury, Mark, and I say, that's the best talented, the most talented player on the Yankees. He can do everything. And then he ends up hitting 260. Why? Why is Jacoby Ellsbury not living up to his talent?
I think he needs to be more aggressive. I think a lot of us look at his 2011 season, which he should have won the MVP. I'm one of those guys that says pitchers have an MVP. It's called the Cy Young. They shouldn't win the MVP, but that's another discussion. Point being, in 2011, Jacoby Ellsbury hit a bunch of home runs. He had a lot more aggressive swing. The thing that he's talked about now is he hits the catcher's glove too much. You know, you cannot hit the catcher's glove on a catcher's interference with an aggressive, get the head out, drive the ball into the gaps type swing. So what I want to see, and he had that nice home run the other night, I want to see him look to swing harder, look to be more aggressive. Who cares if you strike out a little bit? We all strike out. But Jacoby Ellsbury can be an offensive force, especially if he's hitting fifth, if he's more aggressive and hits the ball out of the park a little bit more.